Hey fellas, how you doing? I wanted to share a concept in this video. This is really I think it's really gonna help you. It's really gonna change the way you think and hopefully help you to become more successful in any area of your life, preferably with social confidence and women and dating. I find it very, very fascinating when people use terms like overcome rejection and avoid rejection. I know I've titled that on my videos before. Obviously we have to understand that YouTube has a language, and sometimes you title a video at a particular time given how you felt. But when I look at my life and I really see the things that I've achieved, how I've become successful, how I continue to become successful, also looking at my honest failures and how I continue to fail, rejection is not something I really want to overcome. Rejection is something that I actually want to embrace. Now, looking at the successful people and studying just the patterns in their attitudes, their mindsets and what they've achieved, you won't really hear them being sensitive or insecure about rejection, that it comes with the territory. It's kind of a catch-22 because when you're not successful at something, you're afraid to get rejected. You don't want to get embarrassed. You don't want to feel insecure. You don't want to feel judged. You don't want to feel not good enough. So most people don't do it. They don't do it. And I've been there myself, and I'm probably still making this mistake in certain areas, but I've got to be straight. In the areas where I've really kicked ass and been successful, I've always had a very kind of, don't want to swear, sorry, no bullshit attitude. I've always gone out there and really put the work in. Same with the dating area. I always knew that I didn't worry if women turned me down. I accepted that as a process. I was more excited about having the confidence to go over and try, and for a woman to refuse me, for me to be at home afraid to go out and to talk to people. For me, that was a permanent failure. So when I heard Les Brown's video, and I've quoted it a lot, and I like to credit people when I use their concepts because that's just out of respect to him. He's one of my teachers. I love what Les Brown said. I love the term. It's beautiful, it's poetic. Failure equals success. And what he's really saying is that success is a process. There is not like a constant right way of doing it, or you're not always in that, it's not always going well, it changes. And I don't even see failure as failure. I just see failure as something that you have to endure to get to success. And when you become successful, you don't stop failing. You actually fail more because you're doing bigger things, but you succeed more. You succeed more because you're playing a numbers game. So how can someone fail if they don't try? If you don't want to fail, don't try. You're literally setting yourself up for failure. You're not being successful because you're not willing to try. So let me give you a quick analogy just to get your mind right. Years ago, when I'd go out with my friends, we'd go out in a group. We didn't always do it. It would be quite common for there to be a group of 5 drinking. We'd be having fun, we'd see girls, and we'd all say, go on, go over. And a lot of the time people would say, go on, John, go over. Because I was kind of the insecure one in my group at the time, but I was kind of the loud one who was the guinea pig. So they'd say, go over, and I always did it. I didn't care. I was insecure, but I tried. And I think my friends really respected that and appreciated that. And eventually, I wasn't the guinea pig no more. I actually became a successful woman, and I taught it on a professional level because I was willing to go through that. And the confidence you get from, and don't get me wrong, no one likes being rejected. I don't want people to reject me. I don't want to be turned down. But there's also a part of me that doesn't mind, that can handle that, because I always know that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I know that success is coming. And this is really the process it's the truth I found in my business. If you're running a business, not everyone is going to want to buy your product. Not everyone is going to want to work with you. There's so many contributing factors because they might not like what you're talking about. It might not be right for them. They might be afraid to come and work with you or to buy your product because they're afraid to change. But on the flip side, you meet the right people. You have a great connection. It doesn't even feel like something's been sold because you've both exchanged the right amount of energy, the right amount of value. So failure cannot be separated from success in any area. In any analogy, in football, in boxing. Boxers don't like losing. How many great champions have lost and come back? Okay, you've got people like Floyd Mayweather who are undefeated, Joe Calzaghe retired undefeated, you've got Rocky Marciano, Muhammad Ali, Tyson, all these greats. They lost, they came back. No one's going to say Mike Tyson's a failure. People remember him as a champion. Even though he lost loads of fights at the end of his career, the perception of him is so powerful and strong that people just remember him as a champion. The great Mike Tyson. You cannot undo that. He could lose 30 times more. So we start changing our attitude and our thinking when we actually achieve a set amount of success. Now, I don't want to be cocky when I say this. I'm being careful because I'm excited. When I started to eventually get good with women in the context of, I'll be careful when I say this now, in a new identity. When I was going on dates regularly and I was sleeping with women, and that was my goal at that particular time when I was younger, I never felt rejected when I would go out and women would turn me down because I'd had enough positive experiences. And I knew those experiences would never have come if 10 women didn't turn me down. And then we go into what's being turned down. Out of 10 women, maybe 5 just don't find me attractive. They just don't like me. They don't want to talk to me. It's fair enough. The other 5 like me, but they're in relationships. Maybe the other ones were busy, or maybe they were nervous of me. So we start inquiring in and we realise that rejection don't exist. It only exists at the reality that we give it. And that's not me being smart or spiritual or trying to, worm my way out of it. It only exists at the level we give it. I can't even convince people now that I used to be shy or shy with women. People don't believe it because they see, I guess in a sense, more of the finished product, even though I've got loads more to learn and grow. They can't imagine that I used to be really anxious and shy and stuttery around women and I was afraid. They can't see it because they see me being successful now. But if you've seen what I had to go through to get here, you would be inspired. If you're watching this now, you've probably achieved certain things in your life. So I didn't really want to tell you guys in this video today. I didn't want to lecture you. I didn't want to teach you that. I just wanted to communicate with you and to share this experience. I'm excited about it, and I've just applied this in every area of my life. And if I ever feel shitty and I get down, I embrace it because I know that a brighter day is going to be ahead. So we can look at it from the spiritual aspect, the yin and the yang. You can't have a sunny day without a rainy day. You can't have a bad person without a good person. You can't have negative without positive. We can't separate these things. So we want to be successful, but we don't want to endure suffering. We don't want to have discomfort. We don't want to feel pressured. We don't want to feel stressed. But that comes with success. Obviously, people probably know this, but people want to believe otherwise. And I think that's really exciting. I think that's going forward as human beings, and it's exciting for everyone to know that it's not something to be ashamed of. And when you get around people that are more successful, you'll notice that their attitude is different. Like what would be failure to someone would be nothing to them. Would be nothing. It'd be water off a duck's back. And I don't mean that arrogantly. So maybe if you spoke to someone who had been socialising for 10 years around women, and he got turned down or women didn't turn up, he would just brush it off. He wouldn't even blame the woman. But a guy who's new might get really angry and upset and hold it. It would be personal. So it builds your character. So if you get really, really offended by someone rejecting you, it's just showing that you're a bit insecure. But that's not a bad thing, because as I said, there are times in my life, in different situations, where I'll be affected, but it will all show me where I need to strengthen, and there'll be areas where I won't be affected. And I don't even know who taught me this. I revealed this in myself. I learnt this through my own intuition, my own common sense, but I learned it through going out and practicing. And this really, when I teach people my 6 weeks program, I like to share these things I've learned, because I think it allows people to be human. I think it allows people to actually want to start their own business, want to start a new relationship, or want to end a relationship that isn't working. It gives you confidence. We need to be confident of failing. We are a species that has been failing for thousands of years. But that's why we're becoming successful. You can look at it from every different standpoint. You can look at it from a global standpoint. You can look at the economy. The economy collapses, sometimes it rebuilds. That pattern is happening all the time. So we don't want to be successful all the time. Maybe partly we do, but we wouldn't enjoy it. There'll be no challenge. But I've learned from every single failure, it's taught me something. Sometimes we need to fail in life in the short run to be successful later on. So sometimes a guy's not ready for the right woman to come into his life, even though he wants the right woman. He's not working, he's not in the blessed place spiritually, So that woman who turns him down, that's the universe telling me he's not ready yet. A year later, he's ready. That same woman, he's not interested in her, or vice versa. He meets another woman. So sometimes failure is a sign that we're not ready yet. Many times in my life, I failed at things because I wasn't ready for it. So as I was going for it, I wasn't really committing to it. I was 50%, and the universe was giving me that back. When I've really felt ready, knuckle down, I get the success. But I enjoy failure. I enjoy it. Sometimes I don't like it. So I want you to think about what I said. So if you want to start your own business, if you want to start a new relationship, if you want to go out and start improving your social confidence or improve your dating life or any area of your personal development, I want you to really think about this. And I've even started to think about this spiritually, because I made a few spiritual mistakes this week. A few occasions I've lost my temper, and I consider that as me failing sometimes. But I thought to myself, the fact that I'm making mistakes is that I'm learning. The great saints, very spiritual, enlightened people, they lose their temper sometimes. So I'm going to leave you with the last story because I think it's fun, and it's a story that I like, and it's from Alan Watts, and he's one of my big inspirations. He's another spiritual teacher, and I'm just going to leave you with it and see what you get. Now, I can't remember the time that Alan Watts said, but years ago Alan Watts said, to be stereotypical, he was saying, when the American businessman started to become aware of the spirituality in the East and the Buddhist monks, they became curious. They wanted to go over and to meet these men, because they heard that these men were very enlightened men. They were very at one with nature, they knew who they were peaceful, they had no anger. So of course these American businessmen, these millionaires that were, city closers, they wanted to go and meet these monks. So they took a trip over to Asia. I don't know what part it is. I'm not getting all the facts right, but the moral story is true. Alan Watts said it. It was a beautiful story. And when these American men went to this monastery and met these monks, they stayed there for a couple of days, and they were highly disappointed. They were really pissed off. The Americans, these Western businessmen were really upset, because they started to notice that these monks were losing their temper. They were swearing. They were drinking alcohol. They were laughing, and they thought, "What's going on? We believe that these were enlightened beings. They were perfect human beings that had found this spiritual balance, and they are just as bad as we are." So the Americans came away feeling like they'd been shortchanged. They lost their money, and they didn't lose the money, but they kind of were disappointed. They were expecting something, they didn't get it. But Alan Watts said something really powerful that struck me. It went straight through my body. Alan Watts said that what the Americans didn't realise is that these monks had really thought things through. They were so enlightened, they realised that, they thought it through. They realised that there would be no fun there. Because if they were in that place all the time, they wouldn't be human beings. So of course they get angry sometimes. Of course they experience jealousy, or they eat and they drink. But that was the awakening. That was the enlightenment. But they had accepted that. But I guess the Americans were a metaphor. They had not accepted their thoughts. So the monks knew who they were so thoroughly, so well through, they could be all those things, but not kid themselves of not being. It was powerful. Maybe there's more to this message. So I want to leave you with that. And I'm not saying to be angry, to be jealous and drink alcohol. I'm actually saying to don't do any of it. But I want to leave you with that and see what you get from it. Leave a comment in the box below. I'm really excited to understand what you got from it. But what I got from it was this. Alan Watts said that it's about self-acceptance. Of course we should work towards being better human beings and being more loving. But we have to accept that it's part of the human condition, that we do experience these different parts of us that are not very nice, but we can work towards eradicating them slowly and get rid of them. But we can't lose touch with being human and laughing and having fun and just being normal. And that is enlightenment, at least for me anyway. Enjoy the process. It's really powerful.